Alright, so you read the title, and this is not a full review, rather some structured thoughts on our one and only playthrough of Alice is Missing. This is our Alice printout we were assigned. You might get a different one. Yeah, so this is a role-playing game, whereas we're typically reviewing board games on this channel, although we do have plenty of experience with TTRPGs. So we'll give our brief recommendations and personal scores later. Remember, we've only played this once. I'm also not going to spoil too much about the cards, and to do that, I'm not going to reveal too much information about how our playthrough went. Anyways, let's cue the soundtrack. What is this? This is a role-playing game where a 16-year-old high schooler, Alice Briarwood, has gone missing right before winter break in a sleepy NorCal town called Silent Falls. Think of kind of like a rural high school campus, like Twilight. Okay, no more jokes, because Alice is Missing is not only a serious dark game, but it's also silent. A session is 90 minutes, with cards being flipped at certain time points and resolved by the player that holds them, usually helping you build the world, then later putting crucial events into motion. They'll often interact with the suspect, location, and searching stuff, but these are only the names of things. It's up to the players to collectively say why things are important and make the storytelling magic happen. There's no GM in this game. Everyone is texting as a character, with a secret, a motive, and relationships with two other characters. You'll establish this all before the timer starts. When the timer is going, you're just typing away to other members about where Alice could be, who the potential suspects are, and maybe where the disappearance could have happened. Once the timer hits 10 minutes, there will be a critical event, and once the time hits 0, the game ends. Then you can talk as you resolve the end of the game.
Okay.
Cool impressions. If you want to roleplay to interact with friends in an American small town world, Alice is Missing is 100% it with the initial flavor text to set the scene. There's a classic character tropes and cool locations, and cards have nice art. There's pretty much no rules overhead to fuss about, putting the focus on the joint storytelling. Let's talk about the digital integration, the texting here. Remember, these chats are where the game lives, and the fact that you can do it all with the screen leads to some pretty cool communication situations. There's a public post in the group chats with plenty of non-responses. Then you have the intimate DMs, where you try to go deeper with questions, gossip about other characters, and secretly plan. At some point, I asked to make a 3-person chat to deliberately block off another person I didn't want hearing info. But then I got a no reply on that. It really is like you're talking with people, helped by changing their names on your phone, which really goes a long way as you see the same names pop up again and again, and not your friends' names. Remember the relationships you have? These typically encourage players to favor some friends more than others. It's not surprising to see some secret grudges in the group, so there can be some nastiness in texting. There's ghosting and limited responses, people getting annoyed at each other, that confusion in the group chat since some members might not know the entire story about Alice. Look, we all know that group texting and texting are not good mediums to set up events, and especially not to connect with other human beings. And Alice is Missing nails that in a situation where the stakes are high. The time just keeps ticking down, so there's a definite sense of urgency as you manage multiple chats, your motive, and with cards coming up that require you to critically think about creative developments and keeping the storylines flowing. One amusing and scary secret motive in our game was the secret girlfriend of Alice. So Julia was trying to churn a conspiracy theory about so many different things, specifically about Ryan, Alice's ex-boyfriend. Maybe there's some jealousy there as she tries to paint his church as a bad place? This all worked because she would be super paranoid about getting back to her secret relationship, and has probably seen some secret stuff the rest of us haven't at their hangout place, the old barn on Cambridge Street. On the other hand, there was Jack, Alice's protective older brother, who wants to blame someone for Alice's disappearance. And who else to blame than Evan, who has a secret crush on Alice. And Jack can definitely sniff out that crush from all the times Evan came over for studying for chemistry. But also Evan is genuinely just trying to help, trying to keep everyone's spirits up, and just keeps getting non-replies from Jack. Oh yeah, the included video is awesome on YouTube. Cards resolve at the same time the soundtrack changes songs, and it all just feels very deliberately sequenced as it escalates near the end. Heck, I had this on as background music while making this video. It's just great music to have while quietly thinking. And this unique experience is very accessible. It's a 45-minute setup, then 90-minute runtime, so that's pretty easy to plan out. And there's also very little components except for cards, and then you print out some pieces of paper, and then you just bring your pens. Also, there is no need for a game master, which is huge. Sure, the host should read the rules and see which things they want to print out to supplement the game, but you can just buy the PDF for about $10 right now. And ultimately, you don't even have to be together while playing the game. You can just play remotely. We'll get into that more later. Since Alice is Missing is all texting too, it opens up this tabletop RPG genre to people that are interested in getting into this, but maybe are uncomfortable making up stories on the spot or doing impersonations, just whatever it is, because now you can just use your phone to talk. You can just have a little bit of silence while you read previous messages, think about what to say, maybe edit previous messages, or role-playing as a different character here. Maybe it can just be having a different typing style instead of doing a different voice. You can also frequently read your secret motives without other people being too suspicious of you because everyone's looking down anyways. The most verbal role-playing you'll have to do is recording a voicemail at the beginning of the game, which can be any level of acting you want. You can hand out the Oscars, but admittedly, most people are gonna find this really awkward to do, so you can just make them quick 10-second voicemails. It's how far you want to get into character that's important here, and this really helps sets the mood at the beginning. Then at the end of the game, you listen to all the voicemails in succession for a really satisfying conclusion.
Sure.
Pog. Alice, I know you're still mad at me, but please pick up. It's been too long.
Weird parts? We only have two. First is that the Charlie Barnes character, which is the one that the host plays, has a really weird secret. This isn't a spoiler, where it just says that Charlie knows that Alice has been acting strange lately. Okay, but Charlie is a person that moved away and came back during winter break to catch up. So not quite sure why he would know this. Whatever, you can probably find a way to spin this right, and it's probably more simplistic so the host can keep everyone on track easier. The second is that the story has the potential to be unsatisfying late game when these card flips force you to do something in the story that doesn't line up very well with previously story woven events. Like, of course, your mileage is going to vary because there's so many different cards in the game, but for us, these ending points felt very shoehorned in and random. We really lost immersion when it was like, oh yeah, that's right, the game is telling us to end it quickly with these crazy events as the timer starts ticking down to 0. If a seasoned player flips over these cards, they're gonna do some creative texting to steer the story in a way that makes sense with said previous events, but that's putting the burden entirely on the player. I would not be surprised if many endgame card flips just catch players really off guard. It's also hard to just veto decisions on these or switch out the card for a new one mid-game since you're all texting and you don't want to pause the game. This is kind of an inherent issue with a game with so much miscommunication anyways, with the texting, with no GM, and with a strict time end. I totally agree with SUSD's Quins that having one clear, very coherent series of cards over the modular one would have been the stronger play. What if they included 3 of these well-crafted sequences of cards in the game? It's not like it would take any less cards than they have here. Like 3 stories is plenty. It's not like people are going to be playing this game all the time anyways, and then also you can buy the expansion if you want even more replayability. No scoring for this because it's not a board game and we only played it once, but we're rolling out a new label for situations like this, and this is going to be called Shelf Size Certified. Alice is Missing is shelf size certified. It has our back to go ahead and try it and buy it. Playing Alice is Missing is definitely getting out of it as much as you type in, where you need 2 to 4 other players that share this same mindset of collectively typing a dark and grounded story within 90 minutes. And when I say 90 minutes, it's literally 90 minutes, so it's never gonna drag on you. The more you type and the more creative you are, the more fun and memorable Alice is Missing is, with so many awesome anecdotes you can read online. But as maybe you board gamers might have noticed, the game is really freeform with not many mechanics, and a card you flip over every 5 to 10 minutes, which for most of the game introduces events that you have to spin into the whole story, but doesn't change any mechanics or really any decision making like it would in a board game. Plus, the actual card flipping is so subtle since they're given to each player to flip on their own, so they're not always the most obvious when triggered. This can also be a good thing if you're already so immersed in typing. The truth is that Alice is Missing sinks or swims based off of your story weaving abilities and playgroup dynamics. I have no idea how your session will go, but don't think you'll be a train wreck due to the decent structure here and minimal rules overhead. So Alice is Missing is an incredibly safe bet to just try. Also, this being precisely at 90 minutes means that if you're super fast at texting, some may feel like there's too much dead air while you wait for the next event, while others players may really relish the opportunity to keep thinking of new ways to spin the story, talk about new locations and suspects, as they type so fast. This leads into the Discord template we were using, downloadable from their website, and this is definitely the way to play type fast with the keyboard and not agonizing over typing on your screen with thumbs. Since it can automate the giving out of cards, you can literally just play solely through Discord and not use components. Full remote play can help give you this feeling of isolation and let the soundtrack sink in, while you quickly sift through all the chats. Then once the game ends, you can meet up afterwards in person and do the final conversations and eat dinner and just chill out. If you've always wanted to get into role-playing or want to rope in your friends into role-playing with you, this is the game to get for that silent digital phone integration. And you can do this all for real cheap if you just play online. Man, playing this online is like playing a video game. This video is sponsored by Sandtime Games for their game, The Gilded Realms. This is a Euro-style kingdom builder board game with simultaneous play, which I covered as Antares Kingdom in a review previously. So 2 years on and many overhaul revisions later, this new project is live. There's a lot of new mechanics to a system I already thought was worth checking out. So check it out on Kickstarter in the link below. In the below thing, description below. Now let me say it with him. Your kingdom waits. Okay, back to the review. Daniel's personal score.
For Alice is Missing, my personal score is gonna be a 6 out of 10. Above average, had a decent time. Not bad, liked it. So my big comparison point for Alice is Missing would be Fiasco, because these are both games where everyone has a role and they're just making stuff up and saying nonsense into the table. This is not really nonsense, it's more supposed to be big serious, and that's probably why it doesn't quite jive with me as well as something like Fiasco, because in that one, if everyone's just making stuff up and it's being stupid, it doesn't like quite make sense, it just fits better. Whereas in Alice is Missing, yeah, I would say maybe like the 30-minute mark, it was just like, there's too many things happening, and I'm not sure which are the ones that are like actually more important, because it was way too late into the experience when we finally flipped over that final 10-minute card. I was like, all right, this is the suspect, this is the place, things are happening. This kind of just invalidated like 3 people's like storylines they were trying to build up to. So that kind of sucked. I liked one of our friends' storylines way more than what actually ended up happening. In terms of why I think Fiasco works without a GM is because it's a fiasco. The game is purposely trying to be more stupid because it's just like, here's a really dumb situation and there's no GM. I'm just make stuff up, throw it in, it becomes canon, now everyone else has to react to it. And as a result, dude, you get, a fiasco. Like everyone's creative juices can just go haywire because there's a lot less reservations about, do I throw this in? Does this quite fit in here? Like, what if I flip over a card that like invalidates all this? What if this like screws over that guy's thing? I guess I'm just not the biggest fan of role playing when there isn't a GM, because I just need something more concrete that I can actually bounce my ideas off of. Whereas in this, everyone's kind of just making stuff up, which is a cool vibe, but it does cause some listlessness. The cards do offer a lot of possibility, right? Because there's a lot of mix and match you can do with the characters, certain backgrounds, what ends up happening, right? But you still get so much more variety out of, an AI. And this kind of is just like, there's only so many set in stone things here. I feel like at most I have like 2 or 3 plays left in me, and it has to be with a different group, like just for sure. If I were to play this with my D&D squad, who knows, it might just be like, 9 out of 10, whoa! I say that because 2 of our friends, I'll say Ashton and Jason, they kind of were more grounded. Like, I would say the ideas that were thrown out there weren't quite as like, whoa, like super cat thing. They're like very just like, I'm chill, I'm just like putting stuff in there. It makes sense, right? But it's like, I don't know if that's like my jam. I need something more like, whoa, that was very, very out there creative and it makes sense. Like, dude, you are a genius type of thing. Oh, I really liked the texting medium. That is something that is super unique to this game. Though, I do admit, I do like my face-to-face a little more. Texting, not my forte, but it was still a very interesting twist on the role-playing, because I've never done like text RP. All my RP has always been, just me screaming into a microphone or screaming at my friends. I very much like how you don't have to do voices, you don't have to like do facial expressions. You can just text, and you get a very good vibe with it. But Alice is Missing. Not bad time. I think I would like to play the game, but definitely a different group. Definitely with a different group.
My personal score. My personal score for Alice is Missing is going to be a 6 out of 10. I have an above average time of playing with friends on a game night. I found out about Alice is Missing more than half a year ago from our host, who was in love with the idea of it, so after the elevator pitch, I refused to spoil it myself so I didn't look up any info. So now, when we finally get to playing and excitement is high, I thought it was a role-playing game wrapped with some mechanics, with texting as a communication tool, but nope, it turns out the components don't really matter and the game is pretty much all texting. And I realized that I don't really like hanging out with my friends and not talking on game night for 1.5 hours. I mean, I don't know, it's just kind of a jarring feeling for me. It feels like I'm back in middle school or something. I kid you not, I sat next to Daniel and I always associate us playing games together as a troll joking time. So there's a bit too many times I was chuckling at stuff he said in the chat, even though it was not meant to be taken in jest. Sorry, the miscommunication with texting just doesn't help the seriousness here. Also, the fear of miscommunication made me weirdly hold myself back from a lot of creative stuff as I tried to keep the story grounded. Anyways, it took me about 30 minutes to get used to what the game is, realizing that, oh yes, it is just pure silence and typing. Since I wasn't too immersed in the universe besides the awesome soundtrack, I felt like the first half was slightly dragging. But then about 45 minutes in, I was pretty into it, feeling like I was talking to real people about a real missing person. This got me invested into the endgame where my heart was pounding for real, as I see all these quick text updates about what's happening. This got me invested into the endgame where my heart was pounding for real, as I see all these quick text updates about what's happening. Good job, Alice is Missing. Use the dopamine hit from getting a text message on your phone into making a game feel tense. However, upon some reflection, I was really thinking how the ending was not the most satisfying for all the previous setup we were doing, so I would want to revisit this again. This would probably be with a different group just to see how it goes, and with people being in different rooms. Then I could feel the seriousness of the game sink in more. Like imagine being able to switch from laptop to phone, pace around while thinking. That would make the game feel more real and like time actually passes. Since I'm now more knowledgeable about ways to roleplay via text, and also how to integrate the locations, the suspects, and the items, I'm pretty sure my next playthrough will be at least a 7 out of 10 with the social distancing. Oh yeah, and then the voicemails, so fun. Really want to do that again, very satisfying to hear them all endgame. I know we're gonna study this Friday, but afterwards, did you want to go see a movie? There's like a really cool superhero movie coming out. I think it'd be cool. It's totally okay if you say no. So anyways, I can understand the hype, but it's nowhere near the most epic RPG game I've played. And if I want this non-GM approach, I would definitely take the more nonsensical, silly fiasco with our more upbeat storytelling group. But yeah, with social distancing, I would run this back. And also, I'm interested to see what the expansion has. Well, that was Alice is Missing. Finally got to try it out. And thanks to all our patrons for making videos like this possible. We get all you guys right here. I don't know how many more RPGs we'll do, but this one was just so much in the zeitgeist, I have to talk about it. Yeah, let me know what you think of this experience, the social distancing thing, and also maybe you can tell me how your experience went. Also, we got our Man That's a Cardboard right here. Anyways, that's it for this video. Yeah, it's a little bit of a quicker one. See you guys later. Bye-bye. Remember to like, comment, subscribe. That was it.